So hopefully you had a chance to look at your agenda that I sent out a few days ago now, so that maybe you were able to actually add some thoughts to it before today. But nevertheless, just a quick overview of what we're doing. We're going to be sharing some connections that we made while reading, any predictions that you made. We're going to scroll down and share our jobs that you did this week. We'll talk about some new questions. We'll talk about your new assignment, and then we'll review the vocab as well. So give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Oh, okay, good. All right, here we go. I'm going to turn your microphones on so that it's a little bit easier for you to answer questions and whatnot. So if you have any background noise, make sure you close your door or whatever. Okay, here we go. So last week, did anybody make any connections while they were reading? Any connections? Did you have any text to self, text to world, anything that came to mind while you were reading? No one? Okay, guys, this is going to be coming up every week. So every week you're going to be expected to make a connection, a prediction, and any other reading strategy that we're working on. You should see this every week written in your assignments that during Dear, you're supposed to make a connection or a prediction or whatever the case is. Okay? So, anybody make a prediction while they were reading? Maybe a prediction about what's going to happen next, a prediction about the rest of the book, a prediction about a character, anything? Okay, go ahead, Autumn. Thanks for sharing.
Um, well, I think that and like, cause you know how the hunters they think that like since the little girl is hiding from them, I think they're gonna finally find them and her brother.
Okay, so the hunters are going to find the girl and her brother. And what might happen if they get found, if they're found?
They're probably gonna try to kill him.
Yeah, because they're not very nice hunters. We get the impression that these are kind of bad people that don't care a lot about animals and don't care about human or animal life, really. So they'll be in danger. Good. Any other predictions that you made while you were reading? Any predictions about the characters and what might happen to any of the characters? Okay, Christian, go ahead and share.
Um, um, I thought that the hunters were going to not pay the Indians their
Oh,
share.
oh, okay. So you're making a prediction again about what the hunters might be doing next. And sorry, you're getting a little bit of feedback. Maybe if you and Kaylee are in the same room, you can maybe switch rooms or something because you kind of get a little bit of echo when there's two computers in the same place or too close to each other. But yes, another good prediction about the hunters. Any connections? Has anybody, and this is a real simple one, has anybody ever felt scared or alone? Because I'm sure that that's how Karana and her brother are feeling right now. Yeah? You can maybe think of an example in your life. I'm not going to spend too much time, too much more time, I should say, going over these reading strategies, but just know that every week you're going to be sharing any connections or predictions. And when we move past predictions to our next strategy, you're going to be sharing that as well. So that is definitely part of your assignment to make a sticky note and think of something while you're reading. Okay, moving on. So, just a little recap of what you already know from last week. Our goal for book club is to really start to communicate with each other about the novel. So, that means participating, collaborating, and reaching the same goal, and which is our goal is to understand the theme and purpose of the novel, to think critically about the jobs that you've been assigned and any of the themes in the book, and then to be creative as well when you're doing your actual book club jobs. So let's go ahead and get started. We will start letting you guys share your screen for your jobs that you did last week. Anybody want to volunteer and go first? Oh boy. Okay, then I will. All right, Jordan. Yay. Okay, Jordan, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you and I'm going to turn it over to your screen. So we're going to see Jordan's screen. And Jordan, you can go ahead and explain your job.
Um, okay. How do I share my screen?
I actually changed it to your screen, so it should be, like I said, my computer's going a little slow today. But any second now, it should be starting up with you as the presenter. Um, so you can go ahead and just start telling us, what your job was and start going through it, and then your screen will pop up, I'm sure, any second now.
Okay, so my job was the discussion director.
Okay.
And so my first question is, how would you feel being left on an island alone?
Ooh, anybody have any thoughts about that? How would you feel being left on an island alone? Autumn.
I feel a little scared because like maybe there's other people on the island and they're not very friendly and they could probably just like kidnap me or something.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you would feel scared. You would feel alone. You would feel helpless, probably. And I'm not sure why your screen is not coming up, Jordan. I'm still here trying to make it come up, but that's good. Any other thoughts on that question? Okay, Jordan, what was your next one?
Do you think Chief Chow's, I think how you pronounce it,
Yep, Chowit.
made a good decision to let the Russians hunt? Why not?
Oh, okay. So do you guys think that Chief Chowig made a good decision by letting the hunters on his island to hunt? Why or why not? You think it was a good decision? Christian, do you think it was a good decision to let the hunters on the island?
No,
How come?
because they could maybe like trick you and then make you into slaves.
That's exactly right. Like they knew that these hunters were bad people and that they shouldn't be trusted. So for whatever reason, they still let them on the island, and it probably wasn't a good decision because there had been a history with these hunters before, right? These hunters had been on the island and they took too many animals and they were just really disrespectful. So that was what they were like in the past. Um, and so why would you trust them now? That's good. Any other thoughts?
Yeah. What else, if Roma was your brother, what else would you have done to save him besides jumping into the ocean?
Oh, okay. So if you were in Corana's shoes, basically, what would you have done to save Ramo or Ramo? Autumn?
I'm not sure yet. I kind of
I'm sorry, what did you say?
um I'm not really sure yet because I raised my like wait.
Oh, okay. Well, anybody else have any thoughts about what you would have done to save Ramo? TJ, what would you have done if you were, on the boat and you watched the boat sail, or you were sailing away and you watched your brother running across the cliff and he got left behind? What would you do?
Uh, I'd worried.
Okay, yeah, you'd be very worried. Anybody else? Any other ideas?
Um, Scared.
Okay, yeah, we'd be scared. So, would all of you jump in the water and go back to the island? Autumn, what do you think?
I probably just try to leave them, but like try not to get killed at the same time.
Yeah, I know. She was in a really tough position. She didn't know what would be best, whether or not, to believe people and that they would actually go back for him, which is probably not true, or to do what she did, which was jump off the boat and go back to the island to be with him. So, okay. Did you have any other questions, Jordan, that you wrote down?
No.
Nope. Okay, so she did her three discussion questions, and those were perfect. Notice that those discussion director questions could not be answered with a yes or no. We actually had to discuss them. So that was perfect. Good job. I am not sure why I couldn't share my screen. I'll try it for the next kiddo. Hopefully, it'll work with the next presenter. Who was the quotable quoter last week? Autumn. Okay, let's see if I can change the presenter to be Autumn. Let's see if it works. Even if it doesn't, you can still share it verbally. Hmm. Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. I'm not seeing it switch over, but Autumn, go ahead and tell us what you did as the quotable quoter and what some of those things that you wrote down were and why.
Okay, so I said it made me feel sad when the book said the men would kill the sea otter and leave carcasses and leave their blood in the water, and it's like really sad because like just leaving them like all over the ground in the ocean and the water and all, it's just like really really sad to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree that the hunters, they were only there just to get the pelts. They didn't care about the bodies. They didn't care about cleaning up any of the mess that they made. And they were pretty brutal too. The way that they would slaughter them, they weren't very humane. They were just trying to quickly get a job done and not thinking about the animals at all. So yeah, anything else, Autumn?
Yeah, I have one more, and then it was like really interesting when like um the men were like having a little group and they were eating, and then the other people came over and they're like, hey, why don't you share with us, you promised us a promise, and like they said no, we promised you that we would give you sea otter, not fish. So I thought that was like really interesting because like
Yeah, well, they were changing their story. They were saying one thing, and
yeah,
then the next day they were kind of changing their story and saying, "Oh no, that's not what we promised. We can't do that for you." And then when they tried to bargain here pretty soon with Chief Chowwig, they basically lied about the agreement that they had made. There had been an
yeah,
agreement that if you come to our island and kill all of these sea otters, you have to give us something. And of course, they lied about, how much they would give them. So, yeah, pretty bad people, I would say. Autumn, any other quotes that you came up with from the book?
no,
No,
not really.
that's fine. No, you were only supposed to do two, so you did a great job. Okay, and I don't know what's going on with sharing the screen. I'll try to figure that out for next week. I've been trying this entire time, so. But we're doing okay just sharing it verbally. Okay, who was the summarizer last week? Kaylee. Okay, Kaylee. The summarizing job was actually pretty easy. You really just had to kind of give us an overview of the 5 chapters that you read. So go ahead and take it away.
Did I just read what I wrote, or?
Yeah, go ahead and read what you wrote, and then if I have any questions, I'll interject afterward.
Okay. Karana is a girl of 24. She has a sister, a brother, and a father. She lives in a small village where she is very happy until one day someone says the owl,
It's called the Alute.
otter,
Yep.
Aleut otter hunters are back. The hunters had come before and caused destruction, and now they have come back again. The hunters asked to hunt around their island in return for payment, but when the hunters refused to pay all that was due, the two sides fight. The battle ends with only a handful of men left in Karana's tribe. If the hunters attack again, it would wipe out the whole tribe. So the chief of the tribe sets out to a new island to see if they could live there. Will he return soon or never? Will the island be inhabitable? What will happen next?
Very good. So you actually made a couple of predictions. You kind of were thinking ahead as to what might happen now. She did a fantastic job of just summarizing that Karana had a fantastic life until one day those Aleut hunters came back to their island. The Aleuts, by the way, if you were kind of wondering where they might be from, they were Russian hunters. So they came from the north. And this particular island is off the coast of California. So, um, just a little FYI for you. This story, and this is kind of interesting if you think about it. This story is obviously fiction, but it's based on a true thing that happened. In the 1800s, they actually found a woman on an island off the coast of California, and she didn't speak the same language, so they really couldn't figure out what had happened to her and why she had been left alone on the island for so many years. But and that's kind of how they based this book. But yeah, somebody actually did live on an island by themselves off the coast of California for several years. So who knows what would have happened. Okay, the connector. Oh, well, the connector from last week certainly should have made some connections. Who was the connector from last week? Let's see, I could look back at our agenda, or our, I should say, schedule of who would have been assigned that job. Okay, the connector would have been Bradley and Jeremy. So neither of those kiddos are here today, and Jeremy's really sick. So we'll move on then. Oh, the fun job. Illustrator. Who was the illustrator? Oh, looks like Bradley might be showing up right now from his sister's computer. Let's see. Bradley, are you there? Because we can't hear you yet, but it looked like he was showing up just a second ago. Well, if he shows up, then we can let him present his job. Let's. Yeah, somebody's here. Let's see who's here. Well, it's not showing up yet. Okay.
It's
The illustrator would have been Ryder, and he's not with us. And Kendall is also not with us. So we don't have any pictures to show. Bummer. That's like the fun job. But those kiddos, I'm sure, have already shared their job with me. Let's see. Word Wizard. We'll move on. Who was the word wizard last week? I have the schedule. I can look back here. Um, oh, surprisingly enough, I actually did not assign a word wizard, but all of you had vocab words, which is kind of the same thing. So we'll go ahead and go through those vocab words. Last week, I will go back to our list. Okay, Tyler's not with us. Kaylee, sorry, I'm in the wrong agenda. Just kidding. There we go. TJ, let's start with your vocab words. You had the word gulls. Did you find that word in the book and what did it mean? Go ahead, TJ. Your microphone's on.
I didn't find that word.
You didn't find gulls? Okay, well, gulls were just the birds, right? Like seagulls. But she just called them, the author called them gulls. Did you find the word ravine, TJ?
I I think I did.
Okay, well, did you remember that a ravine is kind of like a ditch? And so you can hide in a ravine. And that's what she was doing on the island. Okay, let's move on. Kaylee P, you had the word Russian. Okay, that's pretty easy. What is a Russian?
I didn't have that word.
You didn't? What word did you have?
Uh, cormorants.
Oh, okay. I put Kaylee P, but maybe, well, I'm not sure how that got mixed up. Because I have Bradley as having the word cormorants, but that's okay. I'll just tell you the Russian is basically somebody who's from Russia, and we're talking about the Aleut hunters, and they're from Russia. And go ahead, you could tell us since Bradley's not here what a cormorant is.
Cormorants is a large diving bird.
Yes, it's a type of bird and it's a large diving bird. So that island has quite a few of those. And they're going to become important as the story goes on because Karana has to really use her resources. Um, and those birds are actually pretty helpful. Good. Anybody else? Let's see. Christian, it looks like you had the word bail. Did you find that word while you were reading?
I thought I had to get my own words.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Maybe you did. Were you the word wizard?
No.
No, you weren't. Well, that's fine. Go ahead and share the words that you found for us.
Okay. So the first one is cove,
Okay. And what's a cove?
a small sheltered bay, and I found it on page 4 and paragraph 1.
Very good. And why was that important in the story? What was going on in the cove?
They were hunting.
Yeah, that's where they were hunting all of the otters. Good. Any other word that you found?
Mesa,
Okay, what's a mesa?
an isolated flat-topped hill with steep sides.
Good. And the island has a mesa on it, right? And that's kind of where she was hiding out and spying on the hunters. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, and Bradley was with us for just a second and then he's gone again. Bummer. Okay, let's see. Jordan, did you have any words? I think you weren't with us last week and so you kind of assigned yourself glistening and carcasses, right? So you can go
I
ahead and
don't
share.
think I don't I have glistening, but I don't think I have carcasses.
Okay, that's
Carcass?
fine. I'll share what a carcass is. I'm sure
Okay.
you already know, but go ahead for glistening.
Okay, so glistening means like kind of shining or sparkling, and it's on page 13.
Yeah, and what was glistening in the sun? Do you remember?
I think it was either the ocean or I think it was the ocean.
Yeah, it might have been the
I,
ocean, or it could have
yeah.
been the beads that the hunters had brought, right? And of course, they
Yeah.
lied about how much they were going to give the people. Good. All right, guys, we will move on so that we have enough time to talk about some more questions. And remember, the way that you earn your learning earnings bucks is number one, for showing up, but number two, for participating. So this is really about you discussing the book. I've already read this book about 50 times. So it's not so much about me learning about the book and learning about the themes. It's about you. Hey Bradley, you're back. So before we go much farther, do you have your job that you can go through for us?
I don't know what my job is. I got an email, but I didn't really get to read it because my mom took it. My mom wanted to see, so she took it and she asked what it is, and I didn't really know what I had to do. I can't remember what I had to do though. I'm gonna go see.
Okay. So, guys, every week I'm going to probably have to just resend it to you, the schedule of what your job is. And then all of you should have those jobs in your documents so that you can make a copy of them and they become your own documents so that you're always prepared. Okay? All right, here we go. Number one, in the first chapter, how do Ramo and his sister Karana differ in their views of the sea? So they think about the sea differently. How does Karana view the sea, and how does Ramo view the sea? Anybody have any ideas? Hmm. Okay, guys, this is kind of why I send these out ahead of time so that you can look at these questions and be thinking about them. We'll come back to number one. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mute you guys for now, and then I will unmute you when you want to speak, when you raise your hand, okay? Because right now I'm getting a ton of feedback and I have no idea who it is. Okay, number two. What happened in a previous hunt that made Chief Chowig suspicious of the Russian hunters? So go ahead and raise your hand and then I'll unmute you. Do you guys remember there was talk about a previous hunt and what made Chief Chowig suspicious of these hunters? Okay, let me unmute Bradley. Okay, I'm not sure what is going on here. Uh-oh. Remember those computer problems I was telling you about this morning? It's running super slow again. All right, Bradley, you're on. Go for it.
Okay. The hunt when they were packing up their tents. He got suspicious when the women started to clean their. I think it's their dresses or their aprons, and they're packing up their tents after their hunt. Is when he got suspicious.
That's right. Okay, so they were packing up their tents and it looked like they were getting ready to leave without paying, right? Like without giving them
Yeah.
the beads that they had promised. And so that's one thing. And then the last time that they were on the island, they were, they killed way too many otters the first time that they were there. And it doesn't seem like they've done very good business in the past. Okay. Question number 3. Why does the chief not want his people to visit the hunters in their village or befriend them? So why does the chief basically want everybody to stay away from them? Okay, I'll take Autumn first. So let me unmute Autumn. Okay, go for it.
They don't want to be like the chief doesn't want them to be friendly or like visit them and all because like they think the other people are just really like rude and they think that they're not very nice and they're like kind of like just like stay away because like they might do something bad to you.
That's right. Yeah. So the chief obviously doesn't trust them. So he doesn't want his people getting mixed up with them as well. Kaylee, did you have any other thoughts? Go ahead, Kaylee.
If they befriended them, like if they had to, um, like if they had to go battle them if they didn't listen with the beats, then they wouldn't want to fight them because they're friends with them.
That's true. That's another good thought. I didn't even think of that. If they become friends with these people, then maybe once they're, trying to leave the island and they start cheating people, then the chief wouldn't be able to rally his troops to fight them. That's right. So you don't want to be friends with them because the chief knew that later on he was probably going to have to battle them. Very good. Okay. Number 4. What is the good fortune that befalls the villagers that spring? So, what was the good fortune that the villagers had experienced in the spring? You guys remember? Okay, let me unmute Christian. Okay, go for it, Christian.
They found bass.
That's right. So they found a ton of fish, right? So they were able to eat really well. And the hunters, they just expected them to share with them, right? They didn't ask nicely, they just expected. So that was pretty rude. All right. And our next question. What was the reaction of the Russian hunters and what feelings emerged on both sides? So, what was the reaction that the hunters had when they didn't want to share the fish with them? And then, what kind of feelings did both sides have? Okay, Autumn, go for it.
Okay, so the Russians, no wait, the Russians, wait, yeah, like the Russians people who were like having fish and all, like they reacted like, I don't know how to explain them, but I know how to explain the other people.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so like the other people, um, they were just like, why? Like, the feeling was kind of like curious, basically. Like, why aren't you you're letting us? Because you promised us,
Yeah.
you're not doing that promise.
Right, that's right. The hunters were saying, "Well, I think you should just share with us." And the other, the island people were saying, "Well, no, not really, because you kind of lied to us and we don't really trust you. So, why should we have to share our fish with you when you're here just killing our otters?" So, the feelings that emerged is they were starting to be angry with each other now. They some bad feelings started to emerge. So already they don't trust each other. Okay, this is so weird. I'm trying to scroll down so that you guys can see these questions, and it doesn't look like it's actually working. Like my screen isn't even sharing anymore, which is not cool, but we're getting it done verbally at least. Okay, so let's talk about what you're going to be doing for the upcoming week, okay? All right, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and you're ready so you can hear your assignments. Okay, this next week, you're going to be reading chapters 6 through 10. I'm going to assign you a couple more vocab words. You're going to have a new job to do. And remember those connections and predictions? I want you to have a connection and a prediction to talk about next week. So that's, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not that bad. It's only 4 things that you need to do. You have to read chapters 6 through 10. You have to do the vocab words that I'm about to give you. You have a new job that you'll share. And you have to make a connection and a prediction. Pretty easy? All right. Let's see here. I don't know why. Okay, raise your hand if you can pull up from your own documents the agenda for today. The one that I sent you. So it says Island of the Blue Dolphins VC from 10/8. It was a document that I sent you, a Google Doc. That's where you're going to see the assignment and your new vocab words, okay? All right. So I'm scrolling on down. We have some new vocabulary words, and I'm going to go ahead and assign those to you now. And this is a bummer because I know that you can't see me scrolling on the agenda anymore. It just kind of died. So here we go. We have the words scan, spring, flee, fiber, stern, pitched, snarl, thrust, uneasy, current, shrouded, ponder, stout, dune, vein, scurrying, layer, muscle, headland, and stunted. So what I'm going to do to make this a little easier on all of you is I'm probably going to email you your words so that you'll know which words to look up. And then I will resend you the schedule so that you can see what job you are to do for next week. Oh, wait a minute. Next week is fall break. So I meant, sorry, it'll be the week after fall break. So actually, you guys have 2 weeks to do this assignment. So it's really not that bad. All right. Any other questions before I let you go today? Because it looks like I need to work on getting my computer rebooted or something because it's not going well today. Yes, go ahead, Autumn. Go ahead, Autumn. What's your question?
Do we have virtual classroom next week?
No, next week is fall break. So as soon as you guys are done with your work this week, you can start your fall break. Most of your work probably is normal and will take you all the way until Friday to finish. But once you are done with your assignments for this week, you can start your fall break. And then we don't come back to class, however you want to put it, until October 22nd. But we do not have any virtual classrooms that Monday. There are too many people that are still out of town. It's the day after, a long break. And so, we don't have a lot of attendance. And then we have Anderson Farms, the field trip on the 23rd. So then our next virtual classroom is not until October 25th. Okay, so you have a long fall break, and then you have, the field trip, and then you'll have a virtual classroom again. So.
Okay.
All right, guys. It's been fun. Look for an email from me because I'm going to get off right now, try to figure out my computer, email you a couple vocab words, and I will resend you the schedule so you can see what job you have to do. Okay? All right, guys. It's been fun. Give me a wave goodbye. Bye. Happy Monday.